Hi, Jeremy. How are you?
Everyone's gonna be.
This is for you, and then, here's the packet, but if you could just sign this waiver, because we were inside the 10 days for notice, that you were okay having a meeting today, it's on the second.
Open meetings?
No, it's like, it was by the bylaws, it was our bylaws that actually. Like, who passed these bylaws?
Oh, man, that's.
And I remember last year, we just finished cleaning up a
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Jason.
And the umbrellas being on.
All right,
Everything,
Courtney, can you hear us?
Hey, good
Yes,
afternoon,
absolutely.
everyone.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Jason.
Thomas, you're muted again. You're gonna have to do that again. You're good now.
Okay.
Aren't you a keeper of the music?
Yeah. Terms rat, I know what to do.
All right, so officially calling to order the special meeting of the ErieNet Local Development Corporation Board of Directors, special meeting. Time now is 2:08 p.m. I'll do a quick roll. Mr. Toth.
Here.
Mr. Mills.
Here.
Mr. Keating.
Present.
Present virtually. I'll just make a note that Mr. Keating cannot take an action. He can't vote because he's virtual. Mr. Breeden.
Here.
Mr. Castle.
Here.
Mr. Cornell.
Present.
Please note for the record that Mr. Spears is absent and also Mr. Myers is absent. Despite those, we do have a quorum in the room. Just moving into the agenda, there's no unfinished business to discuss. Primarily for the meeting today, we'll be voting on resolution 2023-10. Melissa, do you have any background before we get into the vote?
On a CLW. The background that I would have is we discuss everything that we discussed the last meeting, with the whole financial piece. We feel very confident, given Matt's recommendation from ECC Technology. In the contract, we did give them the option if they want to purchase the materials ahead of time and store in Erie County. It's just an option. There's pros and cons to both that can be worked out during the in the resolution that can be worked out during the contract. So nothing's really changed since we met, but we were able to get the resolution put together with the assistance of Bob Murray, and we will be working on the contract if this is approved. Are there any questions? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, Mac or Matt, is there anything you want to add?
Not me, I think.
No, nothing new since our last discussion a couple of weeks, unless you had something, Mac.
For the record here, just for the record, it might be good if Matt could at least give us the 3-minute version of what measures you took after we only got their one bid to engage the other bidders and their reasons for not bidding, just so we have it on the record.
Matt, you wanna take it?
Sure. I mean, we reached out to as many that would return calls or emails. And basically what we heard were they were either already overextended with too much work and didn't want to take on another project, or they were concerned about the contract duration and the price volatility, which quite frankly, they could have addressed in their proposal had they wanted to. And I think some others had concerns about how competitive they'd be with the prevailing wage requirement. Those were the three major items for people passing on it. So, I mean, basically phone calls and emails, Dan.
Just that
If
there
you
was
wanna
an
elaborate
intentional
on
due
that.
diligence to contact the other bidders that were non-responsive, determined why. I don't want to just, as a course, without just assuming we can accept one bid, but given the due diligence that occurred, and the outreach and the issues cited, I'm comfortable.
Yeah, we were reasonably satisfied regarding the explanation regarding the construction bond issue as well, and how that was dealt with, so.
All right, any more discussion?
It was just a brief typo in the construction. When you do all caps, infrastructure construction.
Got it.
All right. Throwback,
I can't get that anymore.
all right. if nothing else-
1994.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve it.
Thank you. Can I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, second resolution of the day is resolution 2023-11, a resolution of ErieNet Local Development Corp. Authorizing executive director of the corporation to enter into a contract with insurance for general liability insurance. So a little bit of history before we get into this. We've been discussing this, predates Melissa. Originally, we elected to utilize Lawley as our insurance agent because they have a contract already with the county, and our procurement policy allows us to latch on to existing contracts with the county and or the state. When we went through the process of understanding the cost for Lawley, if you recall, it was in excess of $100,000. I think it was like $120,000 plus. So as a result of that, I went through and started to request other information from other agents as to what's out there in the market. And because of that, I also reached out to Southern Tier Network to see what their range of insurance was as well. And they were under $20,000. So we had that huge disparity and gap. And so, again, I began reaching out to numerous agents, most of which elected not to even respond to my request. I think I reached out to a total of 4. And then I met back with Lawley to see what's going on in the market. And they too had found the same thing. So they reached out to about 11 other insurance providers, and they all elected not to respond to our request for insurance, even just to get a price. So as a last ditch effort, I reached out to a more local agent, USI, met with the people there, and the agent assured me they could do better than $100,000, and they came in under $20,000. So that's why we're here today, requesting the board to approve us to move forward with working with USI as our insurance agent.
Is there any context as to, where the difficulty in this lies? Is it something where these insurance companies just don't know how to adequately price for an organization like this? Or is there some other, issue in the market that we should be aware of?
So from what I've gleaned from all the conversations that I've had from the different agencies is one that prior to today, there wasn't as much information out there as to what broadband is coming into the market. And so they were more readily able to insure back then. So now that we ErieNet, other folks are entering into the space, I think, based on my conversations, it's just too much risk. Guys on poles is what I've heard, and that's just a risk that agencies aren't willing to pursue. And so I even took a step further to request specifically from Wally, well, let me see who are all the folks that you reached out to. And they provided that list of more than 11 organizations. So I think it's just with more familiarity in the space, there is somewhat a feeling that it's taking on more risk. And so that's what I've been told.
Being in the construction phase, but the insurance underwriters are well known, Philadelphia Insurance, Chubb Insurance. So it's not, they're reputable companies that are insuring it.
I guess then, what exactly are we insuring? Are we insuring the organization ErieNet or the construction? Because I would assume, wouldn't our vendor be self-insured or have their own insurance? Like, we ourselves, ErieNet, don't have anybody going up poles. Like,
Right.
Mike isn't going up and checking on anything.
That you're aware of.
That we're aware of. So where is that part of it coming from, I guess?
So there is so the way it was explained is there is some liability inherently because we are ErieNet and we are working with ECC, we're working with CLW in the future. So we are a part of it, even if we're not putting guys on poles specifically, we're a part of the mix because that's not going to preclude X entity from suing us anyway, right? So we need to make sure that we're covered in that regard. So maybe we're definitely working with organizations, CLW specifically, just because we're here. Of course, they're going to have insurance. Of course, all of our partners will have their respective insurances, but we also have to protect our interests as well, which is why we have our umbrella, our general liability, et cetera, et cetera.
So if CLW goes up a pole, knocks down someone else's network, that network then sues CLW, which then sues us, and then
Or just the pole falls on somebody's car,
House
or
or-
somebody
yeah.
gets hurt and the damages exceed the insurance, we get named in all those things,
Right.
so.
So they're not going to say, oh, leave ErieNet.
Right, yeah.
no, they won't.
But it's also our general liability as well. It covers,
Yeah.
the D&O, it will cover everything.
Areas of
It includes-
emissions,
yeah.
automobile, if we have it, cyber, yes.
The board.
Especially if we were gonna put you on the pole work, John.
Premium.
Thank you. The highest pole. All the highest poles.
One thing the board should
If
be
he goes
aware
up, I'm going up.
Matt,
You don't have to worry about it. You're gonna bring in Manhattan at the car.
Matt, you
Matt,
got
go
something to
ahead.
say?
Yeah, one thing that the board should be aware of is the insurance is mainly for liability insurance, right? We're not insuring the fiber cable, right? If the fiber cable breaks or needs a repair, we're not filing a claim for that. We'll use operating dollars to repair outages. And that's just the way the entire industry works. It would be prohibitively expensive, nor would I think you'd find an underwriter willing to take on the entire cable as an asset. So just so you're aware of that, it's the liability of what might happen with that fiber optic is what we're
Typically, these networks are self-insured.
And I'll tell you, we're not construction, we're a design and management company. But when we go out for insurance and professional liability insurance for broadband, the quotes are all over the map because there's a lot of insurance agents and insurance underwriters that really don't understand the business. And there's a few that do. So you try to find the ones that understand what's really happening and what the true level of risk is. And so I was very relieved to see that you got a reasonable premium. That's the number we were always budgeting around, was around that $20,000 figure.
Perfect. So the last thing I was going to say is that the one thing I asked of USI was that if we get into a space where we need to expand for any reason, there's a partner that requires, different, more insurance than what we have, then we can always add on for a time period. And then the last thing is that as we move into more of an operational phase and not so much construction, then that price also may change. So.
Like we might not have to carry as high up.
Right.
Yeah. I can tell you from the town standpoint, we have to adjust our insurance all the time. Because we'll have a company that comes in and requires something we've never had or heard of, or it has to be a higher number, and it's very easy to do.
Okay. So nothing else, can I have a motion to accept resolution 2023-11?
Motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, team, if nothing else, motion to adjourn?
Motion to
20th. Oh, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Next meeting, June 20th.
I like your quick meetings.
I like this building too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, it's gonna be, it's